Bloody Mary of Haunted Villa. A Serbian girl, bathed in her own blood, crawled for help. But wherever she looked, she could see nothing but darkness.
Somebody, help me please! Someone, save me!
The girl was dragging her half-dead body, when suddenly a tall woman, dressed as a nun, stepped on her head and said,
"Why, ashamed of me? You missed me, and here I am. Now, won't you even hug me?"
Two couples, Natalia John and Nick Zara, sitting in the living room of a flat, were enjoying their beers, when Zara, who was intoxicated, started mumbling after taking a huge sip.
What does this my manager think? What is he?
Why are you spoiling the vibes, baby? Let's chill.
No, let me speak. What was I saying? Yes, this dumb manager thinks himself to be my father. Don't smoke too many cigarettes in breaks. Don't wear dark lipstick. And tell me today that you don't wear such tops. Waist is visible. Hey, should I show or hide my waist? What about you?
Bro, you chill. I have a solution for your problem. Let's go to Goa for a long weekend, where I also have an ancestral villa. Heard there is a whispering sounds at night. Let's go, friends. On one side, the whisper of ghosts, and on the other our...
Before John could finish his words, the four friends started laughing out loud and left for Goa the next morning. When the four reached Goa, after a long drive of 6 hours, all of them went to sleep in their rooms, exhausted after unloading their luggage. As the evening approached, all four came out of their rooms, dressed in swimsuits, and went out to have fun on the open beach in front of the villa. All four were playing with the waves of the sea when Zara saw a blue mark on Nick's back, which was like a small hand. But the surprising thing was that this mark was not on his back till the night before.
Nick, how is this injury on your back? Very deep blue.
Is it? Can't feel the pain. Well, leave it. Maybe knowingly or unknowingly it has happened. Leave it. Any plans for the night?
Either I can tell you or I can show you.
Zara runs to her room in the villa, teasing Nick. Nick also runs after her, smiling. While passing through the living room, Nick was going towards his room when suddenly a sound came in his ears, which seems to be coming from a painting of a nun. In the living room, Nick stopped and wanted to know the truth of that voice, but such a fire of lust was burning inside him that no amount of curiosity could extinguish. And burning with this fire, he followed Zara to the room. As soon as Nick left, the smile of that nun's portrait started increasing automatically, as if she had found a big victim. He, Natalia, and John were also coming inside the villa from the sea.
Hey, baby. Would you like to see something amazing?
Seeing Natalia's eagerness, John took her by the hand and took her to his room, and taking out a chest from under his bed, said,
This is my great-grandfather's chest. It holds countless and priceless memories of this villa, one of which is this Guide to Roswell Villa.
If you don't mind, can I read it? This is something different. Bloody Mary, the caretaker, the owner of this villa. Lord Dennis remembered Bloody Mary as his caretaker because he had a strong attachment to his small abode. Bloody Mary protected this villa with all her heart and soul, but now she is in love with Dennis. And whenever Dennis brought a mistress for his debauchery, her dead body would be found on the beach the next day.
Grandfather was a bit too much of a playboy. Well, read further.
Bloody Mary was imprisoned in the largest mirror in the house with the help of a priest. But if she is to be brought back to this world, there is only one way.
Going in front of the mirror at 3 o'clock in the night. The name of Bloody Mary will have to be taken 3 times. What do you say? Try once.
Remember, if something happens to me, I will stick to you like a ghost. Just like this.
John started laughing out loud after listening to Natalia and takes Natalia to the bathroom. On one side, John's door was closed, and on the other side, pages of the manual of Blood Mary. After a few hours, when all 4 were tired and fell asleep, suddenly Natalia's eyes opened and she went towards the kitchen to fill water. Her eyes fell on a clock in the living room, in which it was 3 o'clock, seeing which, she smiled and smilingly went in front of a mirror and said,
Yes, Bloody Mary. Finally your truth has to be found out. Are you really there or just an illusion? Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
As soon as Natalia uttered Bloody Mary 3 times, the air stopped. The chirping of insects also became completely silent, and the silence of fear spread everywhere. Natalia's throat was getting dry now. Before she could understand anything, a black light came out from inside the mirror, which pulled the poor girl into it. Being pulled inside the black world of glass, Natalia's hands and feet were peeled off and she was bleeding. She looked all around, but found nothing but darkness. Due to her injury, she could not even walk properly on both legs. So Natalia started crawling and calling for help.
Somebody, help me. Please help me. Somebody help me.
Natalia was dragging her half-dead body when suddenly a tall woman, dressed as a nun, stepped on her head and said,
Why, ashamed of me? You missed me, and here I am. Now, won't you even hug me?
I just jokingly thought it might be a fake story. But you will not kill me. I am the girlfriend of the owner of this house, not some intruder.
Let's before Natalia could even utter her last words, Bloody Mary cut her body in half with her nails and came out through the mirror. Nick and Zara, who were sleeping huddled together like a pair of snakes, woke up when the window creaked open. When Nick got up to close the window, he saw a woman dressed as a nun on the beach outside who was waving her hand towards him. Nick found it strange, so he quickly closed the window. But as soon as he closed the window, as soon as he turned, he saw that nun in front of him, seeing which Nick screamed. Seeing Nick, nun exposed her teeth and showing her crooked bloody teeth created a scene of fear in his mind. Zara, who was watching all this from her bed, could not understand what happened to Nick. Nick, who was still screaming wildly with fear, suddenly started shouting, seeing Zara coming towards him.
Leave me! I didn't do anything!
Nick, this is me, Zara. You're Zara. Why are you scared of me?
But in Nick's eyes, it was not his Zara, but the painting's nun, who wanted to eat him to save his life. Nick broke the vase, kept some distance away from him, and inserted a sharp piece of it into her neck. For a moment, he felt as if he had killed the nun, but when he regained his senses, he realized that he had killed his own girlfriend Zara. Nick kept crying while hugging her dead body, saying sorry to her.
Zara, open your eyes, Zara. You can't leave me, Zara. Zara.
Nick was still burning in the fire of his repentance, that suddenly the same sound again came in his ears, which he had heard earlier while coming home. Hearing that voice, Nick got so angry that he went out in anger and stood in front of the nun's painting and shouted,
If you have the courage, then come in front of me. You have taken the life of my Zara. I will not leave you alive.
The picture started smiling. As soon as Nick said this, bloody fingers started coming out from both sides of the frame, and legs came out from the lower frame, which crushed his body. While running towards him, Rowan's body was lying lifeless on the floor, and the floor of the villa were now red with his blood. John, who had been fast asleep for a long time, was awakened by Nick's scream. Waking up, he realized that Natalia was also not in the room. As soon as he came out of the room to find that Scream and Natalia, his senses got cold, because on one side Nick's crushed body was lying lifeless on the floor, and on the other side Natalia's half-dead body was stuck in the mirror. It was beyond John's understanding that what and how all this happened here, but he definitely knew that if he did not get out of here, his life would also be in danger. Without losing any time, John ran towards the door, but suddenly someone appeared in front of him, and it was none other than Bloody Mary, the caretaker of this villa, who held John by the collar and said softly in his ear,
If not Dennis, then his heir. Now we will always be together, and you can call me baby, or Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary kissed John hard and dragged him inside.